Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. My name is Monica Weitzel. We're here at Metro East Community Media. And now for our second segment, we're going to be talking with some local folks about Reynolds High School. Reynolds High School has some big plans, and to talk about it with us, we have Jeff Gilbert, who's the principal of Reynolds High School. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you so much.
And Chloe Bosner, who is a 12th grade student. That would be a senior at Reynolds High School. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I understand you're missing an important meeting tonight to be here.
This is important though too, so I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah. I'll get back to that in a minute. Jeff, you are the big push guy. Are you the motivating factor behind this whole plan to get a stadium for Reynolds High School?
Well, the nice part about it is we have a large group of people. The community is really excited about the opportunity. Back in 1976, when the school was initially commissioned as Columbia High School, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was built, and the designs were to have a stadium. And it had about 800 students, and then a little over 20 years ago, when the two schools were combined, Reynolds High School, which is now Reynolds Middle School, and Columbia High School into one kind of mega school, they had designs at that point in time because of larger student body to build a stadium, and it never came to fruition like a lot of public projects.
Right.
And over the last 2 decades since then, there have been a lot of community groups that have wanted to kind of come forward and bring the effort to fruition, and it hasn't had the momentum over a long enough period of time. And the reality of it is now we have so many people that have come forward to say the time is now. And so that's really exciting, and it's exciting to be with a group that wants to make that happen.
Good.
So,
I bet you have some good people in that group
very
too.
much so, yes.
It's amazing that a school of that size does not have a stadium.
Largest,
how big?
Largest high school in Oregon, nearly 3,000 students, and there are only a few schools throughout the state of Oregon at the 4, 5, or 6A level that don't have a stadium. So it's very unusual.
Yeah.
And what it can bring for the school in terms of pride and excitement and energy for us to play on our home field makes a big difference. But also the economic impact, quite frankly, to a school, because we always have to rent fields and facilities outside of our school. That's at a significant impact economically to the taxpayers in the community for that. And also, kind of as a third piece for the academic impact, we have to release our students before the end of the school day to go play in those fields, whether it's soccer or football, before the end of the day, because we don't have lighting on our campus either.
So in the wintertime,
right, so they're losing out on academic time at the end of the day. So it's kind of a three-pronged reason to go forward with it, not just we want to have it at our school for the pride, which in and of itself is a good reason.
Sure.
But for the economics and the academics, it makes a lot of sense.
It does make sense. Chloe, you're very involved, I hear, at Reynolds High School. Tell me, first of all, some of the things that you do there.
I am the student board representative for the school district.
And that's the meeting you're missing tonight?
Yes, it is. I am also the National Honor Society president. I'm involved in cross country and track, which really helps. It makes me want to see a stadium even more, just because of being involved in athletics too. And I have a lot of other fun things, but
she's one of our best and brightest academic students. She's very modest in that regard.
Good for you, Chloe. Good for you. So, as a track athlete, what do you do now? If you don't have a track, or do you have?
We have a track. It's not in the best condition. There's holes in it in areas, and a big problem is we want to get parents and other kids to come watch us, but there's nowhere for them to sit. And you know, Oregon, it rains a lot, and if we don't have a covered area, people don't want to come and support their school or their teams.
Sure.
So that's a big downfall.
So you run on that track, but you don't. There's no place for anybody to watch you. And the football team goes to Mount Hood,
yes.
Mount Hood Community College. So you have to rent
the facility and travel on down, and even just the cost of transporting team and band to that location. And it's difficult with contracts. Every school wants to have tailgaters and things of that nature at your school, or homecoming, to have those connections, and that's not available for us.
Right.
Or for a lot of students, because the school is on the eastern edge of the school district, a lot of students who live in the western portions, bus transportation after a football game doesn't go all the way down to that location, so therefore they can't attend the game because they can't get back home.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's a sad, it's really sad.
I remember in high school, I went to every football game, and I was a cheerleader, so I had to do that, but that was a huge thing. And this is a personal story here, but when I was going to start high school, I had my choice of Milwaukee High School or LaSalle, and LaSalle was a brand new school, and my dad said, I don't really want her to go to LaSalle because they don't have a football team yet. But, you know, I mean, really, it just kind of goes to show that people really do get behind the football teams and the track teams and the sports teams. But the academic issue is something I would not have thought about.
It's really interesting that you mentioned that. We've been recognized by the University of Oregon on several occasions. They announced their Solari Scholarship on our campus here just a few weeks ago, and they invited a group of students to go down to the U of O and just see what's offered down at that campus. And one of the pieces that really struck the students and struck me as we were getting a tour on the campus, the $500 million worth of project renovations that are currently happening at the U of O were not to their athletic facilities, but were to their academic facilities. But in talking with the senior vice president and provost of the college, she indicated very articulately that those wouldn't have happened without the pride and spirit being very high in the school for supporters to come out and embrace the school collectively and make it one community. And so I think it's very vital for people to realize that a school, especially a high school, doesn't just run on academics alone to graduate students.
Right.
That pride and spirit and energy and motivation is talking about a complete student, a complete person.
Right, right.
And if we don't have that, just going to math, science, English, and social studies, which could be very scintillating, very exciting, but for some students and many students, they need a bit more to connect them. Right. And the stadium's not just for football, it's for all students. We talk about if we're here just to build the stadium, it's just a building like any other building. It's just a facility like any other facility that will come and go. But it's really about building hope. Hope, excitement, and energy about something better, stronger. And we have a little phrase that we use, Reynolds Rising. And rise with us, kind of like the Blazers had.
Right.
And Reynolds Rising is part of that, that hope.
I like that.
Hope that, you know, hope springs eternal and that tomorrow's going to be a better day, not only for our high school experience, but for life.
Right, and you know, you're building these students into, you're growing them into adults that are, you know, going to look back and remember, but they want to have that connection with high school, and a lot of kids that is their connection is the sports. And so you have some blueprints, I think. I don't think
yeah, we sure do.
A blueprint
Absolutely.
or a rendering of. So maybe we can take a look at that so we
Sure.
can get an idea of what this is going to look like when this all happens.
We have two. One of them, the first one that you'll show, is kind of a Google map, and then looking down upon it, there's multiple phases that we're taking a look right now. And so folks are familiar. 257th is obviously on the eastern edge of our campus. A major artery, thank you, runs north and south. And then we have Cherry Park that runs on the northern edge of our campus. And so if you take a look at the track and football field, soccer field, there in the middle, that's kind of phase one, where the stadium would be located as well. And then because we wanted to make sure a lot of schools enter into these endeavors and they put it right kind of where they're interested in putting it. But then in about 10 to 15 years, they realize, uh-oh, we didn't make enough room for that soccer field or softball field. And so we were very cognizant to make sure that all of that was taken care of right from the beginning.
They'll grow with you.
Yeah. So that's kind of an overall depiction of what it'll look like.
Wow. So what's the timeline for this?
Great question. The foundation, of which Chloe is a member of the foundation board, have all met, been meeting for several months now, and we're in the middle of getting our 501c3. And once that's procured, then a large fundraising drive to move us forward. And a lot of folks from the community hearing the fact that we're not going out for a bond, we're not asking taxpayers to pay additional funds. Taxpayers pay enough in taxpayer dollars already, and we need to earn the trust of our taxpayer community. We're going to go out and fundraise this effort, and it's
so
a 4.7
donations.
Private donations,
Okay.
$4.7 million endeavor. And a lot of people say, "Gosh, now's not the time economically." But I would say, when is a good time?
Yeah, you can't wait for the right time.
Right.
And you know, some of the families in East County, as all over the country, are facing some really tough times right now. Sometimes that connection at school is the best thing that kid has going.
It's
for
huge,
them.
and that's why this is a community project. And when the community says this is something that we want to do, whether it's good times or bad times, those realities and those projects will become a reality. Right. And so we're excited about that. What we really like to see, and based on a lot of folks, just kicking this off a couple months ago in terms of talking about the project and showing maps and talking to folks that are interested in helping us share the message, I've received over probably 100 phone calls saying, I'd like to donate, or I'd like to give of my time. A lot of contractors have called, a lot of businesses have called, and that's been really dynamic. So we're hoping at this point in time that really in 2 years we would like to see a groundbreaking. And so awesome. In the ultimate greatest moment, we would like to see our current freshmen be able to participate in this new facility by their senior year, or at least by our incoming freshmen next year being able to participate.
Wonderful.
So,
Chloe, what is your involvement with this? I mean, obviously, as a track athlete, you'd like to see a track there, and it won't be there in time for you. But how are you involved in this? What is your participation?
Being on the stadium committee, as the student representative, I pretty much am the voice for the student body to kind of say what we would like to see and also communicate with them to tell them what's going on. Because I have kids come up to me all the time saying, I don't think a stadium can be built. How is this really going to happen? And I can bring a positive voice and a positive message to the student body and bring some pride to the kids, because once they find out that this is actually going to happen, we have momentum. We can get off the ground. Kids are excited. It's going around the school, and it's even reaching the middle school and even the elementary school levels.
Well, of course, they're
the
ones that are going to be, this is where I get to go. You know, I think that would be more exciting for a kid in middle school to think, hey, I'm going to go to Reynolds High School, has this great new stadium and this track and soccer fields and baseball fields and all that good stuff. So tell me about some of the comments that kids make. I mean, what do you think that this will instill more pride in students for Reynolds High School? We
have a huge, I almost want to say fan base, but we're very pride-oriented. Kids are really excited. If you go to our basketball games or our football games, our cheering section is probably the loudest you will hear in Oregon, I could maybe argue. And everyone is just excited. And even the kids who are going to graduate, like myself, they would love to come back and see kids who are in the same area as them getting to benefit from something so great. And that's what I keep hearing from kids is, oh, I'm really excited to see my little brother or sister get to experience this.
Oh,
or just
great.
Know that people in my community really get to come together and celebrate, have a lot of pride in their district.
You know, I'm thinking that some of those students, as they graduate, are going to be the ones that are going to be some of your best benefactors in the future.
Well, Chloe's talking about pride. We played Franklin High School, great school, and we played there. And we took 800 Reynolds High School students in Rooter buses to that game.
Wow.
That may be some kind of state record. Rooter buses just don't exist in high school any longer. The number of buses surrounding that campus was kind of awe-inspiring. It was fantastic to see.
Intimidating.
Yeah, poor Franklin, you know, they're a great school. But we kind of outweighed them in terms of the number of participants watching and that cheering section. And kids are just having that great experience that every person can relate to. Yeah. What was that like on Friday night to have something to attend that's positive, productive, energetic, build citizenship and pride? Those are lessons that are difficult to instill in students in a classroom setting. But in that environment, it's what you want to see. It's what evokes pride in parents and in community members when you drive past a game and say, I remember when I was a kid. And I think we can all remember perhaps those experiences of walking through school or walking out onto a field of competition and the pride that you have, that moment, that sense that you're there. And that you're participating and you're competing for your school and you've donned your gear, and that's a gift. That's something that's very special.
I think high school is probably the most, it forms a person probably more than any other part of their life, I think. You know, I mean, just the experiences you have in high school stay with you for the rest of your life. They truly do. We're almost out of time, Chloe, but what can you add to this conversation? What do you think is the most important thing people need to know about this stadium and why you should have a new stadium?
The reason Reynolds, the school district, needs a new stadium is because, or needs a stadium at all, is because we need a place to call home. We have to go to Mount Hood now just to play a football game, and younger kids who are coming up to watch people in our district, they don't get to see Reynolds High School. They have to see Mount Hood Community College. We need a place where people can come and take pride in their school district, take pride in the high school, and come together and just celebrate being a Raider and it's a great thing to be.
Well said. Well, we are out of time. That was a great way to end it. Thank you both for being on here. I appreciate it. You got me excited about it, so I'll be a good supporter for you.
Awesome.
We'll get the word out. If you're interested in finding out more about the new stadium project, you have a website. Is it your school website or is it a different one?
We have a school website, and we're also coming out with a new foundation website.
Okay, so watch for that. And be sure to check out the information on the screen here if you want to get more information about that. Thanks both of you very much. This is the second segment of Community Hotline. Don't go away. We'll be right back.